sounds a right laugh. I will come and have a look in a moment. Where can one find like the stooly thing? Yeah, but did they die? That's cool, mate. Where did you say them stools were? All the outward, the boy band ones. long's the intro, mate? Hello and welcome to this SlipStream broadcast powered by Alpha Live, round 9 of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship. Qualifying and 2 heats are just about to come to a close as senior Rotax head on to their final lap. We'll have our first final of the day up in a few moments' time. That will be Might E. So round number 9 will set the stall for the weekend here at sun-baked Wilton Mill, as the UK has been for pretty much the last month or so, which is reflected on the circuit. Ground round the perimeter of the tarmac, bright yellow and sunburnt as the seniors just complete their final lap here. So, on his return to the Super 1 Championship, Lucas Blanford takes the second heat. There he is coming down the hill in the white and tan coloured helmet. There are our Mighties just waiting to head out for the first final of the day then here from Wilton Mill. Round number 9 of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship. Final number 1, it's Mighty. Grids, mate, big quality. So seniors will be making their way off, and the plethora of spectators will swap as the senior parents make their way off onto the see their drivers, and will be replaced by Mighty parents, although the helpers will head out onto circuit in their orange high-vis to welcome their drivers back round to the grid positions in a few moments' time. Timing there to the left, the gantry here at Wilton Mill that provides a panoramic view of the Northamptonshire circuit. Probably one of the best views that you're going to get as a spectator, and although the view that driver's just had of his photograph being taken is not one that makes him particularly pleased. I think that's Lucas Steele in number 27. So Mighty's just being hidden at the moment behind the barrier, such as their size. The smallest of our drivers here this weekend, alongside the Coma Bambinos that will be out in a few heats' time. So Mighty up next. We've got junior and senior Rotax to come. We've got Mighty Cadet, Mighty Super Cadet, Honda Cadet, Micromax, Intermax, all on the bill for you this afternoon here from Wilton Mill. Thank you for joining us. Hello as well to Pam Wilmington in the live chat. So that comment has been there for around about half an hour now, so very keen for the Mighty final. Jax Wilmington making his first outing in Might E this season. Some new names in the Mighties as well. Got Harry Foley on debut, Harriet Jones, Cruz Rogers. 3 new names in the Mighties as kart just being recovered to the left hand side. We'll then see the circuit ready to welcome our drivers. Grid mate please, and I'll run through championship positions. So the grid for the finals is a amalgamation of the 2 points collected by our drivers from the heats. EJ Deere of the UK plate will start on pole position. He'll have Eli Parkhouse alongside him, Max Tetlow and Oliver Reynolds on the second row, with Arten Odula and Joshua Chung on row number 3. Row 4 will see championship leader Luca Peed. He's alongside Teddy Veselovsky, with Rafe Verdi and Aidan Castleman Cruz Rogers and Archie Watkins will go off row number 6. Harry Foley will start 13th alongside the debuting Harriet Jones in P14, Jax Warmington and Astro Matthews are in front of Jack Voss and Dax Miller on row number 9. Fraser Payne will complete your 19-kart Mighty grid here then at Wilton Mill. So Warmington late on the entry list, or at least from when I received it on Wednesday. So great to have Jax along to boost the grid up to 19, which I think is about the most we've had in Mighty Bambino so far this season. They'll make their way around for a standing start. Will the Mighties? Luca Peed has a good championship lead so far from Aidan Castleman, although the two of them will go off row number 5 in 9th and 10th respectively for this final. And we've got Max Tetlow, he's 10 points behind Aidan Castleman, with Eli Parkhouse and EJ Deera 4th and 5th in the championship, but they'll go off the front row. And throughout the heats, they've done their championship challenge, no harm at all. Callum Ryan racing in the live chat as well, supporting Jax Warmington. Warmington family who we met for the first time at GYG last year when they made their debut with Chase Warmington in the cadet variant of this class that will be up shortly. It's Jax that is the one to watch for the family in this race. Grid Marshal makes his way to the back. Green flag is in the air with 9 minutes and 1 lap on the clock for the first time today, and we are away and racing. It's a good start there by Arton Odula in the Ayrton Senna inspired helmet as Oliver Reynolds goes down the inside and up into second place. Field running up towards Christmas corner, one driver trimming the daisies on the inside and a few others just bouncing off each other's side pods, but staying in the right direction. All of our drivers as they head down the hill towards Ashby's, the off-camber right-hander with a big flat run-off on the outside, allowing the drivers to get a good run of things. Eli Parkhouse leads us through then at the moment. The fast-starting Oliver Reynolds off the second row. EJ Deera off pole position has fallen down into third place, but is with the leaders, and that looks like Luca Peed already up into fourth place as Deera goes down the inside of Reynolds. Would that have opened the door potentially for Peed to come through? And see how much that curve that this time last year they were nowhere near that curve. Our smallest drivers, the curve was far too aggressive. It's been ground down not only by the circuit but by the drivers using it as well into a much more user-friendly piece of concrete. Pete trying to go all the way high and wide as Archie Odula's going to get forced out by Max Tetlow, and they'll run 3 wide, I think, with Joshua Chung down the hill towards Ashby. Still Parkhouse leading though, with Deera and Reynolds about to swap positions as Reynolds comes back through up into second place. I do wonder points wise whether Luca Peed has just been given the this isn't all about winning on the day conversation. Dad Ed, a very accomplished driver in himself, I'm sure will have passed on some wisdom to Luca Peed. He's got a strong championship lead at the moment. 57 points is the gap from Luca Peed back to his nearest rivals in terms of championship points. Given that a win is in the finals of 60 points, his rivals are going to need retirements. As we've got the 24 of Eli Parkhouse going sideways, and now what was a train of 4 at the front goes all the way back to Rafe Verdi in P10 now. 2.4 seconds split them at the timing line. Oliver Reynolds has found his way to the head of the field with the UK plate of EJ Deera, and that's Max Tetlow who's come through from 5th place. He'd already got past Luca Peed in the run up towards Christmas corner and then picked another one up as Eli Parkhouse found himself for a brief moment facing the side of the track rather than forwards. He will now cross the line in P5. Aidan Castleman sets the fastest lap. Like I say, I wonder whether EJ Deere has just been given the, it's all about just bringing it home now with minimal points loss. First down into fourth in the championship in terms of final positions. Only provides a difference of 5 points. And so Luca Pede, who's been pretty much unbeaten in the first couple of rounds, was, by the time we got to round 5, which was halfway through the day at Clay Pigeon, he'd only not won 4 races, and 3 of them he'd been in second place with a P12, the only blemish along that, and then a trio of P3s at round number 6. Hasn't been off the podium until today in terms of finishing positions from then, and on the finals as well, all inside the top 3. So Pede has been consistent, and again is starting to really close up now, and right on cue set the fastest lap. That's been eclipsed by Joshua Chung, but he won't be too upset to see them exchanging different lines, and particularly a defensive one for Oliver Reynolds in that run-up. He's Pede in the background there in the O plate, the sky blue and yellow and white of Ambition Motorsport. Right up on the back, but don't think we'll be seeing him making any of the dives down the inside that we know he can do, unless he has to in terms of the drivers in front giving him the opportunity. I can't see Luca Pede taking risks. As I say, the family, all accomplished drivers, will have provided, and see opportunities will arise like that, and that has given Oliver Reynolds an opportunity to pull away at the front. We head beyond half race distance with the extra lap at the end as well. Tetlow trying to draw alongside, and there'll be a switch back to the inside here, I think, by Pede, that could, see, hasn't had to work for that. He's just put his kart in the right place. The rest of the field are going to push him through. Max Tetlow is going to be high and dry here on the outside and loses 3 places. Went for 1, lost 3. With Joshua Chung and Teddy Veselovsky there as well. And straight back down the inside on Aidan Castleman goes Max Tetlow. It gave him the inside into Ashby's. He'll be on the outside though for Wilkins, and can't get back to the inside before they get to this left-right at Ozier's. Up towards the boot they go. Oliver Reynolds now with a good gap at the front. Luca Pede again just moved through now into second place. It's been a tidy race for the champion-elect. Chung with the fastest lap, but not on the previous one. Everybody's fastest lap in the top 6 came on lap 4, with the exception of Max Tetlow. And that was the only lap really where nobody was doing any overtakes. They were just nicely nose to tail, working hard at being fast. It looks like there's potential for some lap traffic in front. We've already lost Dax Miller, who is 5 laps down, so that one came to a premature end on the opening couple of tours here around Wilton Mill. And Pede has fallen all the way back down again to the tail end of this top 6. And he's going all the way around the outside. It appears to be Joshua Chung. So a little bit of lap traffic there, just getting swamped by the leaders as they come through. We've round about 3 laps to go. The 5 in front in a tight battle. A gap back then to Luca Pede, and we're missing somebody on timing, but I think it's Aidan Castleman who's showing us 2 laps down, but he is definitely there, because he's trying to go down the inside of Eli Parkhouse for 3rd place. There he is in the darker of the 2 red and orange carts as he once again tries to go down the inside of Eli Parkhouse, who the number 24 on the right hand side of his cart. Not the easiest to make out, but and again, just by the more sort of squabbling, it's given Peden a little bit more of a lifeline. He was a solid 10 to 15 cart lengths back when they crossed the timing line last time round. He's going to draw up onto the back. There's more lap traffic in front, which will be Astro Matthews, I believe, in the 79 cart now. Is it Fraser Payne? He's the driver that the field passed on the previous lap. So they're going to run up towards Christmas Corner. In fact, that could well be Dax Miller, who is running again by the look of things. So whether he's been running the whole time and has just had a transponder issue, or whether they've managed to get that cart out late. He's been shown he's 4 laps down, but the field have come past him only on this occasion whilst on the tarmac at the very least. And that means he should be in front of Fraser Payne. Aidan Castleman still showing us 2 laps down, but is there trying to go round the outside of Eli Parkhouse. Pede is now up into P5. Will show us P4 when he comes through in a moment because of Castleman having that transponder issue. On to the final lap then here of the final at round number 9. And Oliver Reynolds, who got to the head of the field on the opening lap, has got just a little over a minute to hold on here from EJ Deera all the way down to Joshua Chung. Max Tetlow trying to take the line. He's going to come out wide and try and go round the outside. They all concertina together, and that means that Eli Parkhouse, not for the first time, ends up facing slightly sideways. And now defending that second place is EJ Deera, and that will give Oliver Reynolds an opportunity to, at the very least, escape with a few cart lengths at the front. As down the inside now comes both Pede and Parkhouse, and wide goes EJ Deera onto the grass. And Luca Pede's picking up the pieces, as is Aidan Castleman, who's going to try and go down the inside of the O-plate. They'll run side by side, up towards the boot. Pede's going to be on the outside. He squeezes a little bit to the inside. He doesn't need to do anything silly. There's a bigger picture. He's going to go wide and get freight trained by the field. But at the front of the pack, round 9, Mighty is going to be taken by Oliver Reynolds. Reynolds takes the victory from Eli Parkhouse. Luca Pede is shown in third, but I think that's Aidan Castleman who will be credited with that position. Pede, I think, will be fourth. Deera and Tetlow in front of Joshua Chung, P7. Teddy Veselovsky in P8. Arton Odula and Rafe Verdi will complete your top 10. There's a battle still going on here between the two debutantes of Cruz Rogers and Harry Foley. They'll cross the line in the order that was mentioned. Rogers in P11, Foley in P12. And don't be too kidded by on the left-hand side the numbers, because we do expect Aidan Castleman to be reinstated back up into the podium positions. We believe he is in P3. So we think it's going to be Reynolds, Parkhouse and Castleman, your top 3. Pede, Deera and Tetlow will also take trophies home here then from round number 9 of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship. Joshua Chung and Teddy Veselovsky are in will be 7th and 8th respectively, with Odula, Verdi, Rogers, Foley, Jones, Wilmington and Watkins completing your top 15. Astro Matthews, Jack Voss, Dax Miller and Fraser Payne as right on cue. Aidan Castleman does indeed be reinstated into P3. 19 runners, 17 finish on the lead lap all the way down to Jack Voss in P17. Field making their way in. Two of the young drivers getting high fives over the fence, which has become a bit of a staple here of Wilton Mill, having the pit lane with people able to effectively climb up and over the fence and give high fives. It isn't always advised, particularly with the younger drivers who need to put all of their concentration on the track. Next up then, it's time for another standing start class for our younger runners. This one is IAMI M1. Get your grid up on the screen as the IARMYs head out onto the track. Right on cue, they will come into shot, and it will be Presley Knight, who has firmly established himself not only here in the HW BIM Services Super 1 Championship, but anywhere he goes as the one to beat in the IARMY M1 class across the United Kingdom. He'll start on pole position with Shay Downey alongside him. Jack Rossi-Minot and Oakley Rudman will share the second row. Stanley Thurston and Jules Nash will be on row number 3. Row 4 sees George Miller and Henry Exton with Teddy Smith and Briella Stevens in front of Sharon Gomi and Nicholas Answer on row 6. Row 7, Gabriel Chew and Isaac Taylor, Zachary Das and Timothy Robinson with Samuel Karakovic and James Talbot going off row number 9. Row 10, Rex Everard and Albert Omi with Leo Butler and Frank Tingle completing your runners. One new name this weekend, Samuel Karakovic, joining us and racing under the flag of the Netherlands. So points-wise, Jack Rossi-Minot has a 15-point championship lead back to Presley Knight. We'll caveat that in saying that earlier on in the season, Knight had a retirement, which did send him down the order in terms of points. Jules Nash in third place in front of Teddy Smith and Oakley Rudman. So 44 points, split the top 5. 60 for a win in a final. Who's it going to be on the top step today as we commence the IARMY M1 final up through Oblivion and Crook and up to the first breaking point for our IARMYs. It's been a good start by Stanley Thurston, who's come from the third row to run up in P3. That was a good move down the inside into Christmas Corner. I think he's found a way past the pole sitter. It's Jack Rossi-Minot who will lead in the O plate. I think Presley Knight has gone. It's Oakley Rudman. They both run an all-black livery. Stealthy. You just don't see you coming when you're all in all black. Knight and Rossi-Minot then, the top 2 in the championship. Stanley Thurston, Oakley Rudman are your top 4. So bounce through. That'll be Shay Downey in the 51 with the bright orange helmet. Behind him, Jules Nash in P6. Henry Exton up into P7. Teddy Smith, George Miller, Briella Stevens completing your top 10. It's been a good start by Frank Tingle, who comes through from P22 to P15. He started on the back row. Like he's had a retirement in the day. Side by side for third place. It will appear to be Shay Downey and Stanley Thurston. It would appear they've both found a way now past Oakley Rudman, who is indeed just behind them in the number 9. As Jack Rossi-Minot tries to get the switch back down the inside. Seems content thus far just to push away with the leader Knight as Thurston and Downey again swapping positions for third place. Behind them then that 4-cart train of Rudman, Nash, Smith and Exton. A little gap back then to Miller, Stevens, Answer. Frank Tingle again. Heading towards the top 10 at the moment is Frank Tingle. 3 places gained on the previous lap. 10 overall in under 2 laps for Frank Tingle. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got a new helmet in the week, did Frank Tingle, and they always say a new helmet or suit is worth a tenth. And that does compound, so if you have a helmet and a suit, it's worth more than 2 tenths. You don't just add them up. So, in the grand scheme of things, the cheapest way to make the driver fast is just to buy them a new race suit. Cheaper than upgrading the motor. Duo at the front now of Presley Knight and Jack Rossi Minot, pushing away and looking comfortable as Downey, Thurston are now going to be under pressure from Jules Nash, who has moved through on the previous lap, as did Teddy Smith in fact, both in front of Oakley Rudman. Frank Tingle has been he's going to pick up a contact warning in a few moments time when he comes through. There it is being shown in the right hand side. That's what the half and half black and white flag is, so if you ever see that being held out on the side of the track, it's a warning. So Tingle up inside the top 10. His ascension may well stop at P9. He's got 5 seconds to close up if he can get past George Miller for P9, up onto the back of Henry Exton, who was just in the back of a shot there. He's a second or so off the back of Oakley Rudman, who is the final driver in this train of 5 that's being led by Shea Downey with Jules Nash, the fastest driver on track on the previous lap. He was 3 tenths faster than the leaders. The problem being is even if he can get past Shea Downey, leaders are 1.6 seconds down the road, and here they are coming into the heel of the boot. And Nash is indeed through and up into 3rd place. We've got a Marshall running to the left, and normally there is a reason for that. Could well be, just seeing if we've got anybody falling down the order. Looks like everyone down to Sharon Agomi has come through. He is in P15. Just waiting for a few others. I think it could well be outside that as Robinson and Dash come through the timing line. It's the 38 who's gone round by the look of things. Rex Everard is the driver of the 38. Was sitting in P21 at the time. And indeed, around about 8 seconds. He does a 1 minute and 10 lap on that occasion. Best so far is a 1:03.7 for Rex. So 3 minutes to go. Leaders continue to extend the lead as the battle behind rages on. Shea Downey goes back to the front of that battle for 3rd place that has at some point in this race seen Downey, Nash, Thurston and Rudman all in that 3rd place. We just need Teddy to get a move on and get himself up into P3, and they've all had a go at it from 3rd down to 7th. That's Downey taking a defensive line, which is going to allow Stanley Thurston to follow him down the inside of Jules Nash as Nash gets shuffled back in the 18. Comes straight back down the inside of Thurston now. Great battle going on here, and that is Teddy Smith going through on Stanley Thurston, so he may well get that 3rd place that I spoke about. We've still got 2 minutes on the clock, so every chance. But pace-wise, all this chopping and changing continues to allow that duo in front to extend their lead. Knight on the previous lap was 2 tenths quicker than Jack Rossi Minot as well, so Minot needs to find a turn of speed. Keep an eye on them, not flash through the cameras. Downey and Nash run side by side up to the left-hander at Wilkins. Round Osiers. That's a good switchback line there by Nash. Gets his nose chopped off by Shea Downey, who'd run very, very wide into the boot. Some lap traffic in front. And Jack Rossi Minot has taken almost all of them 4 tenths of a second. He's going to go down the inside as Presley Knight goes round the outside of the 27 of Albert Omi. But we're going to get to Schumacher and Hakkinen going round the outside of Ricardo Zonta for your 1998, I believe it was, Formula One fans. Spa-Francorchamps. Please feel free in the live chat to correct me if I've gone a little bit awry with the years. Into the boot they go once again. 27 seconds on the clock will mean we've got 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Nash now will go to the head of this train, as wide there went Shea Downey. Teddy Smith is indeed up into 4th place. Just needs one more overtake and we'll have had 5 different drivers in 3rd place. And seems to have got a run. He's going to go for it in the run up towards Christmas Corner. So he goes down the inside of Jules Nash. Nash has held on beautifully, I may add, all the way round the outside of Christmas Corner. Didn't squeeze Teddy Smith too much, so managed to maintain the momentum. Army M1 class that is a personal favourite. Drivers don't do a huge amount of working together. They do a lot of diving down the inside of each other into corners. It puts on a great spectacle. And generally this class is always one of my favourites to watch. Leaders though have boxed smart in this race as Jack Rossi-Minot just gets into the rear of Presley Knight. Knight will defend largely to the inside what will be fresh air in reality, due to the fact that by the time he got up there, Minot was on the outside. That's a really good kart position there, I think, by Shea Downey, who's lined up a move on Jules Nash, who may well end up losing 2 places. The leaders are back together again. They were some 2 or 3 kart lengths apart, but the lap traffic has brought them nicely back together as Presley Knight and Jack Rossi-Minot will run up towards the boot. Knight will be on the inside and that will be a tighter line. He will carry the speed in. Minot will try and get the switch back and put the kart down the inside, but the door is firmly closed by Presley Knight as Minot tries another run into the right-hander, but I think that scrubbed off all the speed. And Presley Knight wins again from still very happy Jack Rossi-Minot. We're 3 wide as they go round some lap traffic over the timing line, but P3 goes to Shea Downey in front of Jules Nash by 1/100th of a second, and Teddy Smith and Stanley Thurston complete your trophy positions in P6. Oakley Rudman, Henry Exton, Frank Tingle with a really good run from P22 up to 9th place in front of George Miller. That is your top 10. Rest of the field still coming through. We're very happy there. Who was that coming through? Well, it's been Briella Stevens in the 22. He's looking down at the timing. Missed out on a few others. So Zachary Das coming through now. The final runner on the lead lap there is helpers making their way back. Particularly if they're one of the front runners, they have to wait until everybody goes through and then get round to welcome them in. Although to be fair, they do get held at the gate, just why we bring all of our runners through. So top 3 or 4 normally will head towards the weighbridge. We may well take a random one as well. There we go, Frank Tingle bought in at random, which is always great to see. Don't want drivers to get into that sort of complacency that it's only going to be the front runners that can get checked, so it's always best to make sure of always you're running compliant. Sarah M in the live chat saying great race between Jack Rossi and Presley Knight. I'll echo that statement. I look forward to them reconvening their championship battle tomorrow here as we stream for the full day. Heats and finals from round 10 of the Super 1 Championship. Next class is heading round. It's another standing start. This time it's Coma C50. Cheers, mate. Ready when you are, mate. Matthew Pearson and Jace Hannon. The top two in the championship will share the front row. They'll be followed by Noah Gallagher and Regan Abercrombie, which is Regan's highest final starting position of the season in P4. Sebastian O'Connell and Aidan Hughes will go off road number 3. Robert Hanley and Logan Grassi will be in front of Tristan Begley and Reggie Rhodes. Ayrton Edward Jones and River Di Giorgio Miller on row 6. Henry Isles, Jude Campbell and Jacob Haywood White, your 15 Mike helmet C50 runners. Micromax and Water Swift Restricted up next. You can see them just heading into dummy grid. So Pearson on the right hand side in the white, blue and red. Jace Hannon on the left in the white, green and black. .38 points between the two of them as we come into the penultimate weekend of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship. It's been a good start by both of the front row, but it will be Pearson that will lead us through in front of his rival Hannon. They'll run up towards the right-hander at Christmas Corner, being followed by the S-plate of Regan Abercrombie, who runs that S-plate for the first time here in the Super 1 Championship, as we've got drivers bouncing over curbs and into each other's side pod. So Abercrombie running the S-plate to denote him as the Scottish champion. So that is Noah Gallagher just being overtaken by Logan Grassi, who appears to have had a reasonable start from P8. I believe will emerge in 5th place. So Pearson, Hannon and Abercrombie, the 3 at the front here. Already starting to spread out, 0.4 of a second between each of our top 3, and then a gap back to Aidan Hughes. Not picking up on timing is Logan Grassi, although he's been shown as P6, but I can assure you that there he is in the Ayrton Senna inspired helmet, paying homage to his Brazilian heritage. The avoidance of any doubt, his dad Rodrigo is the Brazilian, as opposed to his mum Sarah. Aidan Hughes in the 66 takes a huge chunk of curb there on the left hand side for the Northern Irishman, and that will allow Logan Grassi to go down the inside, and then a little bit into the rear by the 22 of Noah Gallagher. A little bit more as Gallagher and the 66 again exchange side pods. Gallagher, the 2025 Cock of the North champion, which was won at Wumwell. Number 22. Lovely little club, Wumwell. Wow. Oh, and Logan Grassi, under no real pressure, has decided to go rally crossing on the run up towards Inkermans. Support coming in from Callum Ryan for River Di Giorgio Miller, who currently runs in P7 at the moment, having started in P12. Good progression by River so far. And Logan Grassi has got a bit of a problem there. He's slow, at half pace slow for Grassi in the 28, and he is peeling off into the pit lane. Here's Logan Grassi. Another day tomorrow for the 28, but race day 9 here in the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship comes to a premature end for the driver from the northeast. That is the aforementioned River Giorgio Miller in the 82. Battling with the 16 of Sebastian O'Connell, which is now over 6th place, and Miller is going to try and move down the inside on O'Connell. O'Connell trying to run all the way around the outside, and indeed does hold on. Another late entry onto the list is Sebastian O'Connell. Again, he's going to try and just drive all the way around the outside and keeps the revs up and then parks the kart. That was a move that would have been well received in junior Rotax. They love a block pass. Forward we go then to what is now the battle for 4th place. Noah Gallagher and Aidan Hughes working together. They've got Regan Abercrombie in what has now become a lonely, but I imagine for Abercrombie a fairly content 3rd place in that S plate. There he is. Pearson and Hannon half a second apart as Gallagher uses all of the track and some rumble strip on the outside, and down the inside will go Aidan Hughes. But places where other karts overtake, the Comas just don't have the sort of grunts you use in the traditional overtaking spaces. It's all about maintaining the speed and getting some good corner exit. Gallagher with a little bit of a helmet tap, just asking Hughes to potentially work with him, but I think what he's really asking is that let's not send unnecessary moves on each other, and ideally if you could stay behind me please until after the checkered flag, that would be fantastic. Hughes, I imagine, will have other ideas. I'd probably argue as well that pace-wise at the moment Hughes might have a little bit more under him, but it's all well and good, but if you can't find a way past the kart in front, you can only go as fast as the kart in front. Again, Gallagher with another helmet tap. Tom will get tired at this rate. Wide goes Hughes. What I would say earlier on when I said that Hughes probably had a little bit more pace, but Gallagher is parking the kart well and his lines are perfect. He's making it very difficult for Hughes to find a way through, and hence why you saw Hughes taking differing lines into the left-right of the heel of the boot. It's cost him around about 7 or 8 Bambino kart lengths, which is about 3.5 metres to anybody else. Gap at the front is now nearly a second as Matthew Pearson carries on putting the marker down. This is your battle for P8 with Jacob Hayward-White now behind Robert Hanley, who's managed to make an overtake in the first sector of this lap. Didn't pick it up, but where we picked them up, I can almost certainly guarantee it was a run up towards Christmas Corner. Leaders are through beyond the point in which they would be under 1 lap, so we'll have 3 to go at the front of this race, and whatever's happened, Hannon has made a mistake on that previous lap because he was a full second slower than Matthew Pearson. It won't be lap traffic because down to Edwards Jones in P12 shown on screen. We've also lost Logan Grassi and we've got no Tristan Begley either. We are losing 1 or 2 runners. Sebastian O'Connell is now under pressure from Robert Hanley. River Di Giorgio Miller has got through and is down the road. Hanley just trying to get a little bit of a run out of that corner and does line it up nicely. Gets right into the wheel tracks here of Sebastian O'Connell, but then adds unnecessary tarmac by going wide into the left-hander at the first corner. Sure, that would be a learning point for us going into the final few laps and tomorrow as well. For Robert Hanley, back to the Gallagher and Hughes battle, which is failed to come back nose to tail as they ran for a couple of laps earlier on. It does seem to be a bit yo-yo-y. A couple of corners Gallagher is clearly stronger than a few, particularly in that infield section, the double left of Ozier's, and prior to that Wilkins does see Aidan Hughes close back up on the back of Noah Gallagher. Final lap has been seen by the leader, who is now clear and by a good margin as well. Gap in the last couple of laps has gone out exponentially. It's been a second to 1.2 seconds per lap for Matthew Pearson on the last 3 laps. It's given him a gap now of a little over 4 seconds. And Regan Abercrombie, to be fair, has been closing in on Jace Hannon. Had a good rate of knots as well, 6 or 7 tenths of a second. So I do wonder if Hannon's got a little bit of a problem. But up towards the boot for what will be the final time goes Matthew Pearson. Launches himself up and over the curbs, skims the white line, sees the checkered flag and wins at round 9. Does Matthew Pearson. You could just see from the focus that he didn't celebrate anywhere near until he was past the checkered flag, and it was confirmed. Matthew Pearson by 5.6 seconds as he extends his championship lead in Coma C50. Jace Hannon will join him on the podium, as will Regan Abercrombie. Trophies as well going to Noah Gallagher, Aidan Hughes and River Di Giorgio Miller, who has been largely powered by the live chat. They've been big supporters of River, and River will be taking a trophy back home down to Epping in Essex. Miller in P6 then, in front of Robert Hanley, Jacob Hayward-White and Sebastian O'Connell, with Reggie Rhodes, Ayrton Edward-Jones and Henry Isles, the 12 runners to see the checkered flag. Logan Grassi retiring in the first few laps of the race, having run towards the front of the field, with Tristan Begley having not really got going, not completed the opening lap. There is Regan Abercrombie, being pointed in. Noah Gallagher sent on his way, as is Aidan Hughes there in the 66. There is the 82 of River Di Giorgio Miller just coming down as we await the next class here. It'll be a rolling start, so there'll not be a lot of time for the field to form up. So we're going to head to our next race. It's time for Micro Max and iArmy Water Swift Restricted. There they come into shot. So we'll run you through a grid. It'll be Caden Hanley on pole position in the number 69 on his Super 1 debut. We've got a few drivers going off. They'll need to retake their positions fairly sharpish. Ralph Ewer will be alongside Caden Hanley on the front row, with Jensen Drummond and Leo Hunt on the second row, Logan Edwards and Will Hatton on row number 3. Ellis Holton, Cooper Galloway, Tommy Delaney and James Hudson, with championship leader Zane Sofawoglu going off the inside of row 6. He's got South Yorkshireman Alfie Ward alongside him. 13th will be Jackson Fuchs, with Charlie Cale alongside Matty Smith and Jensen O'Connor in front of Hayden Bailey and Max Stones on P9. Ezra Robinson, Matthews and Daniel DeBrio, with Rowan Reed and Sam Hope, Daniel Thompson and Eleanor Shelby Parsonage in front of Jerzy Nedim Selik, with William Ewer, Ralph Dempsey and Buster Scott, who received a mechanical flag in the first heat of the day, meaning he did not pick up many, if any, points. So, field into the tram lines we go. And we are away and racing as we go green in the top left-hand corner. It's been a good start by the pole man in the 69, Caden Hanley. Lead us up towards Christmas Corner. Normally it pinches together in the mid-pack, but largely it looks like everybody has managed to find a way through. Spoke too soon. A few drivers going wide, a few drivers are going to have to pay to get back in. They're that far off on the right-hand side of the circuit. We'll pick out who they are, including one of them who will certainly have a bent steering wheel because he's just given it a few big, heavy right hands. Into the boot then. Hanley still leading. Ewer in second place. 4 on a bit of a breakaway. With Leo Hunt in there as well, and 31 of Will Hatton, Galloway, Edwards, Sofawoglu, Holt, Drummond, but it is a breakaway pack of 4 at the front, falling down the order. Who was involved in the opening lap skirmish? Alfie Ward was definitely one of them. Tommy Delaney and Jensen O'Connor is yet to trip the timing line as well. I think there was a few more in there at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them were our Iami Waters with restricted runners. They go off the back of the pack on all occasions. Just provide them with plenty of entertainment as they try to charge through the field. 4 though on a breakaway with Caden Hanley clearly the one to beat. Ralph Ewer has been a revelation in this championship since joining at the third weekend of this event. Didn't do the first 2 rounds down at Rowra and Glanny Gores. I will just check on the Glanny Gores one in a little while, but certainly he's not at round number 1 with Ralph Ewer. Keep an eye out for the 12 of Jensen Drummond coming through. Had a very tough second heat as down the inside. It looked like there went Zane Sofawoglu and Logan Edwards. We've got a bit of dust being kicked up. Second of the 2 turquoisey carts is Yezhit Nedim Selik. 2 Turkish drivers on this field, Zane Sofawoglu and Nedim Selik. 21, there's Logan Edwards. He's falling a few places on that previous lap in the number 21 machine. Time 43 now of James Hudson. Some of our Iami Waters with restricted runners start working their way through the field. Highest place one so far is Santo Amico, P19. Back this weekend for the first time in a little while. So, looked like we had Alfie Ward there trying to go down the inside. There's a 111 with Archie Johnson, another one of the Iami Waters with restricted runners. Ralph Ewer pumps in the fastest lap on the previous as he closes right in and does it exactly the same again this time round. He's up onto the back of Caden Hanley. Field going up and through Crook and Oblivion. There is Yezhit Nedim Selik. Matty Smith leads that train of carts there. That's for P11. But, Ezra Robinson, Matthews, Sam Hope, Eleanor Shelby Parsonage, who's come up from P24 to run P14. Buster Scott from the back row in P28 is already up into the top half of the field as well. So two distinct pairs now at the front with Leo Hunt and Will Hatton trying to close down Ralph Ewer and the debuting Caden Hanley. Hatton down the inside of Leo Hunt. Clinical move into the right-hander there by Will Hatton. The W plate is Harley Bebb. P20 overall. You can see the big blue pipe going round the back of the seat from the radiator pump. Water pump, just keeping that engine nice and cool. There's Buster Scott in the Lando Norris inspired helmet number 85, trying to find a way past Sam Hope in the 22. That's another driver who had a couple of troubled heats, Sam Hope. Normally one's a little bit higher. Oh, that's a dive down the inside that did not quite go to plan. Of Rowan Reed. Harley Bebb is down the inside of the 8, Charlie Cale. Cale will come into this weekend second in the championship, but at the moment is outside the top 10. That is down in P21 now overall. Minutes on the clock now, just under the 2-minute mark at the end of this lap as the leaders will come round. The one that's shot through first is Ezra Robinson Matthews. That's the train of karts on the screen, the left hand side in timing from 12.5 seconds back, a pretty much nose to tail down to Santo Amico, and then a little bit further back for the rest of the field, but they're starting to work their way through each other now. There's a warning for the W plate of Bebb. He's going to come into shot in the background there, one of the two green carts that just bounced over the curbs at Pit Bend. It overtakes into that corner. There at Christmas, everybody just slotted through nicely. This is your Matty Smith, Buster Scott, the RCE duo. We're going to make it a frosty environment down in the awning, allowing at the very least the 22 of Sam Hope, the Ayrshire, to go down the inside on the run up towards the boot. And it does allow the 91 of Ezra Robinson Matthews to pull away in what is now a comfortable P11 for Ezra. Field comes through, we are heading down towards the final few moments of this race. At the front, the leader's got a gap of 0.6 of a second. I think that may well be unassailable for Caden Hanley. We will cross the timing line now. So prior to us going down to 0, so we'll have 2 laps. So that's Eleanor Shelby Parsonage in the 39, who started this race off in P24, I believe, for Eleanor. Made up 9 places behind the Santo Amico in the Iami Water Swift Restricted, our highest place Iami Water Swift Restricted runner, in fact, on this. What is a 32 kart grid is up inside the first half. We've got a waved yellow in the boot. I'm guessing we might find out why. We will not. It's in. But we're down to the final lap then. And Caden Hanley has got a gap of half a second back to Ralph Ewer. That is why. It could well be Daniel De Brio. It is Daniel De Brio's kart being recovered. Caden Hanley and Ralph Ewer. Lead then from Will Hatton, who is still under pressure from Leo Hunt. They're charging Jensen Drummond. Drummond, who was leading until they came up to some lap traffic in the final lap of heat number 2, then got turned round at the final corner. Hence his starting position was P11 for this final. So it was a little bit further down. It fell all the way down the order at the start of this final as well. But it's going to be Caden Hanley who will take the win here at round number 9 from Ralph Ewer, Will Hatton, Leo Hunt and Jensen Drummond, with the championship leader Zane Sofawoglu crossing the line in P6. Logan Edwards, Cooper Galloway with Ellis Holt and James Hudson finishing in P10. So Santo Amico comes through. He is the highest IAMI Water Swift restricted runner. Started in P30, crosses the line in P15 in IAMI Water Swift restricted. He takes the win in that class from Harley Bebb and from Archie Johnson in 3rd place in IAMI Water Swift restricted. There's Daniel De Brio on the right hand side in the Sodi Vitesse colours. Start on the left, just going to get recovered into pit lane. Caden Hanley then takes the final on debut here in the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship, with Ralph Ewer and Will Hatton completing your top 3. Leo Hunt, Jensen Drummond and Zane Sofawoglu will take trophies home as we trophy down to P6 in our cadet and inter classes. Bambinos as well. Logan Edwards returns to karting after a medical sabbatical for Logan. Great to see him back. We'll touch on that a little bit more tomorrow for Logan Edwards. Cooper Galloway, Ellis Holt, James Hudson complete the top 10. Ezra Robinson Matthews in front of Buster Scott, Sam Hope and Matty Smith in P14. Santo Amico is your winner in IAMI Water Swift restricted. Eleanor Shelby Parsonage and Max Stone with Charlie Cale and Harley Bebb second in IAMI Water Swift. Rowan Reed, Tommy Delaney in front of Alfie Ward and Archie Johnson, another winner in the IAMI class. Yeshit Nedim Selick, Hayden Bailey, Daniel Thompson and Jackson Fuchs are 26th and 27th respectively. William Ewer, Jensen O'Connor, Ralph Dempsey, Archie Ashworth, your 4th runner in IAMI, and then your retiree of Daniel De Brio. That is a front-faring penalty by the look of things for Yedim Nedit Selick. Alfie Ward trying to give the high fives. For our older viewers, it's a little bit like collecting the tokens at Funhouse. Karts on track then for our next class. It is time for our Might E Cadets. They will make their way round then. It will be Heath Smith on pole position, with Junior Wright alongside him in the number 12. Jax Wong and Daniel Stangarian, the championship leader, will go off the second row in front of Jacob Amos and Harry Voss. Then it's going to be Frank Pearson and Freddie Howell, Gianluca Hudson and Emily Christie in front of Samuel Kenny and Archie Annesley. So field making their way round. Orange helmet near side is Harry Voss. He turns 9 on Monday. So through the barriers, over a little piece of history as the former track and former final corner. Power down, the pole sitter will dictate the pace up towards the acceleration zone, and we are away and racing with Smith leading us through then in front of the 12 of Junior Wright. Daniel Stangerin already making up places and into third place as we've got a few drivers off and taking to the grass. One of them is Gianluca Hudson in the 17. As he comes back into shot there in with the white nose and the black Nassau panel. Nassau panel being the bit between the steering wheel and the nose. It's often a wobbly plasticky bit with the number on it. So, called the Nassau panel. Why is it called that, you may ask? Well, courtesy of Henry Burdett, who managed to dig the fact out on every possible occasion. It was because the first time that one was used was in Nassau, which is in the Bahamas, I do believe. That's why it's named after it. So Smith leads then from the number 12 of Junior Wright, Daniel Stangerin just behind in third place. Then they're pursued by the blue kart. The smaller of the drivers is Jax Wong in the number 76 machine. Jacob Amos in the all red AMD tuning. Kart is just behind as the leader Smith has an untidy run through the left and right of Oziers, which does back the field up slightly and give Amos a good run on the back of this train as Junior Wright tries to draw alongside but can't. Amos will just need to just draw up onto the back of this, but it looks like he's managed to get that done nicely, and it is right there. This is your top 5 then. Really good run so far. Harry Voss in the background is in 6th place in the O plate. Going a little bit tidier this time by Heath Smith, hitting them curbs. Clearly has some great pace, does Smith in the 81. Just find them carts and the curbs and settle the cart slightly. Here comes Jacob Amos trying to find a way down the inside of Jax Wong. Not quite close enough in these evenly matched electric powered Mighty Cadets. Again, just bouncing over them curbs on the right hand side, particularly the exit curb of Oziers. It's one of them curbs that it's not particularly comfortable, but if you want to go fast, you do have to use it. Similar in here. The secret though of that one is to get the left part out of the way early and hit the curb straight rather than hitting the curb while you're turning. That's where you see the cart's getting a little bit unstable. It's when they are still turning left as they go over that curb. Still the top 5 then in front of Harry Voss, and it would appear that it's Freddie Howell just behind him in the number 77 machine. I do get the feeling that these trio at the front are not necessarily playing the team game, because there's no Constructors' Championship in terms of points, but they do have it drilled into them. Verbally, not physically, of course. By the team's coaches that it's not wise to be scrapping unnecessarily early doors. RC have got some very, very wise, experienced and very accomplished driver coaches. Sam Spinell, Josh Mercer to name but 2. That not only managed to extract performance out of the driver in terms of overall race pace, but also managed to instill the correct mentality into the drivers. Spinell working primarily with the cadet classes, Mercer with the younger Bambino age classes, particularly in Iami as well. There's a difference, and I say this on many occasions as I'm walking around paddocks. There is a huge difference between being a fast driver and a fast racing driver. A lot of drivers can drive fast and they can get their head down, they can quali well, but when it comes to a race situation, can they maintain that pace when running in close quarters? Can they make the overtakes clean when they're being overtaken? Can they realise that now is the time to back out and allow another kart to just move through and tuck in without losing a huge amount of time rather than battling with each other? How many times have we seen karts, particularly in the mid-packs, try and stick it out round the outside mid-race on that run up towards Christmas corner, and it just opens up the gap and allows karts in front to escape. Now I think we're going to see this battle begin to just heat up a little bit, particularly the one next time, because the overhead gantry will have a 1 in terms of minutes at the start rather than 2, and that is normally the catalyst for these races to really start to come alive. Smith from junior right and Daniel Stangarian at the front of this class. And there we go, Stangarian down the inside of Smith, who'd already lost a place to junior right. They'll run 3 wide with Jax Wong on the outside, up towards, and they're going to be nudging each other again, and the only winner there is going to be Jack Voss. Is Jax Wong as he goes down the inside. And all of that squabbling in the space of half a lap, and less so, has allowed junior right in the number 12 to head off into the distance. He is comfortable now at the front here. Stangarian, your championship leader. Junior right, who has only contested 1 weekend so far down at Clay Pigeon, but did take the final victory on day 1 and was second on the podium on day 2. Heath Smith in the number 81 machine. So was junior right in the ran number 11 back then, but he's got number 12 on today as junior. And Daniel Stangarian, who has won the final at both outings at round number 8, 7 and 8. At fullback will not be victorious, I don't believe, at the minute, as Amis and Smith going side by side was that in the exit of Ozier's. Jax Wong at the moment still holding on to second place. Daniel Stangarian struggling to find a way through. Wright will cross the timing line with 4 seconds on the clock, which is going to mean he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. That's junior Wright, but the gap that he's got, Smith, who led a huge portion of this race, is now down in P5. Behind Jacob Amis, who's there in the primarily red kart with the black line down the middle. There is Harry Voss in the O plate. Still being pursued, but has largely pulled away to a point where he will feel comfortable in front of Freddie Howell. And off is Heath Smith, nose into the tyres, out of 5th place. So a race that was going to plan for Heath Smith is now very much out of plan as Jacob Amis comes through. There's a contact warning for him, which he puts his hand up to Not entirely sure it was to acknowledge. I think it was more to question why it was there. And at the front, Junior Wright. I say he's only contested one weekend down at Clay. Won on the Saturday. Was second on the Sunday. He's well on his way to returning to winning ways. That stationary yellow flag will help Jax Wong for at least a corner as he looks to hold off Daniel Stangarian for second place. Stangarian trying to get down the inside. He's got a bigger points picture. At the front though, Junior Wright back to winning ways, back in Super 1. He goes to the top step. In front of Jax Wong, Daniel Stangarian and Jacob Amis. Jax Wong will cross the line in 5th place. In front of Freddie Howell in the 77. Heath Smith is completely out of it. There he is on the left-hand side. So didn't manage to get that car out of the tyres as he is stood watching the final few corners. We await. Is it Frank Pearson who's going to come through? I believe it is. Frank Pearson will cross the line now. I think that's Gianluca Hudson crossing in 77. In front of, that's Emily Christie in the white helmet. So she will take the checkered flag for P9. And then we'll have Samuel Kenny will be the final runner on track there. I think he is coming through. And we've got Heath Smith out on the left-hand side. And Archie Annesley was an early retiree by the look of things on the timing screen. So Wright takes the victory then from Wong and Stangarian, Amos, Voss and Howell, with Pearson, Hudson, Christie, Kenny, Smith and Annesley. With 12 runners, 10 see the checkered flag here then at Wilton Mill. Next up will be, as always, a keenly contested Honda Cadet field. This class fluctuates in numbers. It goes from anywhere between about 8 and 20 depending on venue and anything else that may well clash, and driver availability. However, on this occasion we've got around about 14, which is a nice number for Hondas. So field starting to clear, 1 or 2 carts to be collected. So we'll move on then to our next race. It's time for Honda Cadet. And the green flag from the marshal. We've got a slow moving car already, and that looks like it could be that Veselovsky. I think he's clipped the tyre on the right hand side, and that's stopped that kart from moving. Let's come out. Nico Veselovsky well out of order, P6, and he can't cross the timing lines. They come out in P number 11. Henry Colborne then will start on pole position. Archie Edgar alongside on his Super 1 debut with Oliver Ratton, who debuted at fullback in front of Reggie Duffy, Phoebe Shelton and Nico Veselovsky on row 3. Luke Hamill and Freddie Williams with George Lillian, Ollie Spooner Green with Kabir Singh and Thomas Pregnell. And we've got George Bridger and the 99 of Fabian Smith. I'll look towards my Honda Cadet notes. There we go. 5 drivers making their Super 1 debut here this weekend. Pregnell, Spooner Green, Archie Edgar, George Bridger and Kabir Singh. And one of them will go off the front row in Archie Edgar. The one to beat though, poleman Henry Colborne. Lights are out, we are away and racing. And Colborne will lead us up and through. The right-hander at Crook, Oliver Ratton's going to try and go all the way around the outside and keeps his foot in on the curb. Needs to be careful, who's going to chop across the bows of Reggie Duffy, and indeed does in the number 24 machine. Could well be, is that Phoebe Shelton up into P4? It is. So Edgar, having qualified on the front row, in the colours of Tim Parrott Motorsport will fall down into P5. Good move by Shelton. She goes down the inside of Duffy for third place. Hamill on the back of this in the all white on this occasion. No sticker kit on the number 12, but race suit giving away that he is on an Apollo. So Ratton trying to hunt down leader and poleman Henry Colborne. Shelton, Duffy, Edgar, Veselovsky, Hamill, Lilly, Singh, Spooner, Green, Williams, Bridger, Pregnell and Smith, your 14 runners. Colborne, who has missed a weekend through calendar clashes, will need to be inch perfect all the way up until the final checkered flag in a month's time. The final few days of August, in fact, as it's a 5-weekend month. We'll go to Shennington in the heart of Oxfordshire to crown your 2026 HWE BIM Services Super 1 champions. Edgar going slightly sideways over the entry curb as Duffy trying to push along with Shelton. Edgar, a little bit of a gap back then to Nico Veselovsky, number 77. Still on the younger end of the Honda Cadet scale is Nico Veselovsky. Very much one to watch, as I've mentioned previously on streams with Alpha Live. There is a huge amount of potential in that driver. He could be operating at this level at this age. There is plenty to come. So he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. Vindicates the words that are being spoken about him as he goes into the wheel tracks of Archie Edgar. And Reggie Duffy at the moment is punch drunk. Getting beat up a little bit, has lost a few places. Across the line in P5, currently falls behind Luke Hamill, so he's down to P7. All is not lost, so 5 minutes and 50 on the clock. Plenty of time for the orange helmeted ambition driver to get himself back in the mix here. A team that knows all about Honda Cadet. Multiple champions across multiple championships for Ambition Motorsport and Paul Janes. Wide goes Hamill. Still half a second between the leaders as they cross the timing line, but it seems to be another one of them where it fluctuates depending on who is strong at which part of the track. I don't think anybody's got it absolutely nailed so far. And Edgar's coming back into this now. Down the inside he goes on Shelton, gets the kart stopped. Did carry a little bit too much speed in there, but that was necessary in getting the job done. But has got a huge gap of 2.5 seconds now to the leader, 2 seconds back to Oliver Ratton. Will be pinning, I imagine, most of his hopes on the leaders having a squabble and him being able to break away from Shelton and Veselovsky, Hamill and Duffy as well. Gap back there, the next driver is Freddie Williams in the number 61. Kabir Singh, George Lilly, front of Ollie Spooner Green. Lilly, Green, Pregnell all nose to tail over P10. Bridger and Fabian Smith a little bit further back. Edgar hasn't been able to break away thus far. Gap at the front is coming down, helped largely in part by the fastest lap of the race being set by the 22 of Oliver Ratton. There he is in the predominantly black but articulated by the orange and green of MJR. Shelton is back through on Edgar. Edgar with the pace to find a way through, but not the pace to break away. Shelton, never one to sit and follow. He's back up into third place in the purpley pink and sky blue number 84 machine of Team 17. We are nose to tail now at the front. Oliver Ratton, who at Fulbeck a month ago toiled throughout the day in what has always been a difficult position off second place. We've got Edgar back up into P3 at Fulbeck off the outside. That long run up in towards the first corner meant that on a number of occasions he was losing places at the start and was on many occasions down to P5, and by the time he got back up into second place was really struggling to then catch back up to Henry Colborne on home turf for Colborne. Hamill is up a place, so that was a few laps ago on Dufficy. Dufficy hasn't been able to get back through on Luke Hamill. It wasn't until the final on the Sunday that Oliver Ratton managed to maintain the second place at Fulbeck, tuck in and give Henry Colborne a really good battle in that final. On this occasion he managed to come from the second row to challenge Colborne early on, kept him honest, was around about half a second back for the first 2/3 of the race, but has now reeled in Henry Colborne. I imagine Colborne will have been told that he's got a kart right behind him, although the way the Hondas rumble, you can generally hear how close they are. And when will Colborne go defensive? So at the moment, Ratton's on a bit of a push job here. It's going to be tight for them getting round, but I think the time will have elapsed. I am rather surprised that Ratton didn't have a nibble down the inside there on Colborne. He really didn't defend in the run up towards Christmas Corner. Edgar, Shelton, Veselovsky, back gap then to Hamill and Dufficy in 6th and 7th respectively. It will be a tight run towards the timing line. I think Colborne might just get there. And does with 2 seconds to go. Gap is out to a quarter. As Colborne pumps in the fastest lap. Gets a little bit of a hurry up. Edgar's going to defend as he at least does round Kink at Fine Lady as they run up Manuel's Bank towards the right-hander of Christmas Corner. Back down the hill towards Ashby. Doesn't feel the need to be too defensive at the moment. Behind them you've got Williams and Singh still nose to tail in 8th and 9th respectively. Edgar now with a look to his left to make sure there was no kart coming down his inside. Don't think he's going to have the luxury of not defending that next time round, as even Henry Colborne at the front is parking the 75 BRK machine in the dark green and white, which will now be a defensive line. Ratton's going to try and go all the way around the outside. That's going to put him alongside in the run up towards Inkermans, and that door is firmly closed by a well-positioned Colborne. We do like a switch back into this corner. He's not close enough on this occasion. Wilkins and Oziers, and he's going to get a run up towards Oziers is Oliver Ratton, and Ratton is through. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. We'll have to switch very quickly into defensive mode because Colborne's coming straight back at him in the run up towards the boot. Henry Colborne has got it back sorted. Ratton's back down the inside, side by side up towards the run out of the final corner. They'll be side by side to the line. This one, though, will go the way of Colborne in front of a frustrated Oliver Ratton, who threw the kitchen sink and the steering wheel at Henry Colborne. Archie Edgar on debut will join them on the podium in third place. Nico Veselovsky gets past Phoebe Shelton on the final lap for P4. Veselovsky, Shelton and Luke Hamill complete your top six in front of Reggie Dufficy, Freddie Williams, Kabir Singh and George Lilly, Thomas Pregnell, Ollie Spooner Green and George Bridger. The final runner coming through out of the final corner is the 99 of Fabian Smith. Next up then, and we will crack on fairly quickly because as always, as you can see, it's a capacity grid for Junior Rotax. I know what you're all thinking. How tight is this championship, David? Well, let me tell you. When we went to Fullbeck, Laurie McVeigh was 4th and Warwick Milam was 5th. They left in 1st and 2nd in the championship. There is 20 points between them. Laurie McVeigh and Warwick Milam are your top 2 in the championship. Jake Cozzy, Amy Peacock and Alex McCullough. Less than a final victory between the top 5 in the championship. And every round we go to, it's different drivers at the front in Junior Max. It is anybody's game. There's 34 or so of them, and it'll be Nelson Taylor who will lead us round. He won heat number 1 with Jude Puddifoot, who won heat number 2 alongside him on the front row. Archie Ray Watson and Laurie McVeigh in front of Warwick Milam, and Zach Jennings on row 3. Jake Cozzy and Travis Dolby go off row number 4. Cian Hundle and Noah Clare with Alex McCullough and Isaac Jameson on row 6. Jack Brown and Charlie Halewood in front of Harry Ward and Nathan Ron, with Elijah Hartley and Evan Meller, who graduates out of Intermax into juniors, going off row number 9. Row 10 sees Tyler Banks and Amy Peacock in front of Aidan Young and Fletcher Groans, with William Kidd Glass and Neve Allen on row 12. Timmy Shahini and Cooper Moore, Ryan Wheatley and Sam Stockton in front of Harry Search and Jerry Dufficy on row 15. Tyler Orridge, Rafi Hare, with Jacob Lamas and Alexander Adams, your 34 runners on the green, but you only have 33 tripping the timing. One already going slowly on the outside. We are away and racing though for those that can get going, and it's Nelson Taylor leading us through from Jude Puddifoot as they run up towards the right-hander of Christmas Corner. It's the 65 that's slow. It's Cian Hundle that couldn't get away. So already defensive, but in third place, having gone off row number 4, here's Jake Cozzy. And round goes Alexander Adams in the 75. He's on debut here this weekend, as are a number of drivers joining us for the first time. And that's not what the championship leader wants. He's on the grass, and Alex McCullough's top 5 as well, and he's facing the wrong way. Waved yellow because we're still recovering Cian Hundle's kart, so there'll be no overtaking in the final corner until that kart is fully clear and everybody's got through. But it's Nelson Taylor from Jude Puddifoot. 2-second gap back then to Jake Cozzy, with Watson, Jennings, Milam, Brown, Clare, McVeigh and Jameson. As down the inside goes Archie Ray Watson on the WC plate of Jake Cozzy, which he won at Clay Pigeon, not as part of this championship. He's their champion down at Clay in Dorset. This championship will swing back and forth all the way to the final corner, the final turn at Shennington in 4 weeks' time. Any one of the top 5 can win this title. I'm fairly sure that there might be one or two surprises in as well, because at the moment there'll be drivers that will have missed a round maybe. Taylor in the 91 leads from the 14 of Jude Pudderfoot, the ex-kart scholarship winner last year. We'll be back here at Wilton Mill, it turns out, in September. And I will be in attendance for that, so if you would like to be judged by me, get your entries in. Red flag. 6 minutes on the clock, and we have got a red flag. Grab me a number if you can, please, mate. Kart in the background there is just being righted. The driver... So now, I don't like taking guesses on who is involved when it comes to things like this, but that's Amy Peacock and that's Aidan Young on the right hand side, and it looks like they've come together. Young is the one who looks like he's come out of the kart by virtue of the fact that he's got a dirty back. So the Anglo-Finnish driver Aidan Young, who we spoke to in this championship last year. He joined me in the commentary box last year at Shennington. Thoroughly nice young man is Aidan Young, as are the whole Young family. He came to speak to us at Shennington about what his career choice is going to be. He's currently racing this year as part of the in the RAF karting championship, and his dad in the RAF as well, and I get the feeling that that will be a direction that Aidan will go. Unfortunately, on this occasion, he appears to have taken flight a little bit too early. So, Peacock involved in that one as well. Hopefully she can get going and join up onto the back of this train, which under red flag will go back, and if anybody's made an overtake, we'll normally go back to the previous fully completed lap and just have drivers repositioned. So got to feel a little bit for Taylor and Pudderfoot. They had a gap of 2 seconds when this red flag came out. It was starting to come down, to be fair. Archie Ray Watson had been taking a few tenths of a second out of the two of them in front since he'd moved up in front of Jake Cozzy in 3rd place. There is Peacock just waiting, and I think that's just because she doesn't want to go past the medical car on the right hand side for Amy Peacock. Aidan Young will be just taken for a post-race assessment. You got the HWE advert, mate? So we'll just wait for the for him to be clear. We've still got easily a few minutes while we just wait for the kart to be recovered and the driver. That's the main priority, is that the driver is okay. So one of our officials just making his way out. Circuits just to, I think he will in a moment potentially get the grid. If we're checking front fairings, if we are, that's a little bit strange, because they shouldn't be allowed to reset them anyway, so they'll still be down by the time they get in the pit lane at the end of the race. So don't know if we're just out there just checking that all of the karts are okay. It looks like Pudderfoot is resetting his front nose. Now, they were allowed to do this in heat number 1 today, because I was stood watching a number of drivers were allowed to reset their nose positions under a red flag. It's strange. It's unprecedented. Yes. But it is what it is by the look of things. So just quickly, have you got that HWE advert before I say something that I probably shouldn't? Ah, well, that would explain it, but I'm not holding my breath until I see it. Yeah, so have you got that HWE advert by any chance? Let's read it out. I'll just say a bit first. So whilst we just get ourselves sorted, we will just take a few moments to thank our sponsors HWE BIM Services for their support throughout 2026. Cheers, mate. If they go off side by side, I'll be mightily surprised. Repositioned then. Be interested to see if we go off side by side here with a full restart. I'm just waiting for the timing screen. It's currently still showing 6.5 minutes on the clock of what was a 9-minute plus 1 lap final. So looks like we are repositioning. Just going to see whether that's a reposition into our start grid positions, as Peacock is currently being held at the moment. In the O plate. Absolutely no idea who that is wandering in the background. Looks like he's got a mechanic's top on, and rather it's someone who's just taken a wrong turn off the main road and taken a left across the circuit. Peacock's getting out. Yeah, look, easy to spot the kart mechanic. Sunglasses on, t-shirt, mechanic-y shorts, on cloud trainers. Standard. It's what they get on day one of becoming a kart mechanic. As soon as they sign on as a mechanic, they get a small box with all the required things in it. They'll obviously get the usual 10, 13mm spanners as well. But yeah, it's like a starter kit for a kart mechanic. It's all about looking good. You don't even have to be able to fix the kart. As long as you look good, that's all that really matters. Speaking of looking good, none of them do. See how many complaints that gets. But that is your balcony here at Wilton Mill, just overlooking the circuit here. Can only imagine how warm it is out there. I was out there a little bit earlier and it was starting to peak, although we are at 5:30 now, so I imagine it's cooling down nicely. field is rolling round. I expect them, given that we've repositioned people. And there's Peacock being allowed to join onto the back of the pack. Potentially here. See whether she peels off into the pit lane, although she is scrubbing the rear of the tyres, so a little bump into the rear there by the 77 of Timmy Shahini. There is Peacock making her way round in the O plate. So, field still single file and still with 6 minutes and 33 on the clock. Just in the live chat, Layla Bell Racing saying David Sullivan for Prime Minister. I would, but we change them every couple of months, so I'd be out of work by the end of the season. So it does seem largely a waste of time even moving down to London to become Prime Minister. Do we have a Minister for Motorsport? We should have one. I shall become Minister of Motorsport. We'll start by increasing the ban length from what is generally 30 days to at least a minimum of 90. I would be a terrible clerk of the course. Be throwing penalties around like confetti. Next thing is what else is on the policies for as my Minister of Motorsport. Them ridiculously massive rear bumpers that they're trying to get in, they're gone, out, banned completely, never happening. Yeah, that's definitely a policy. Obviously, we'll find a way of increasing some sort of taxes somewhere. We're getting taxed on everything these days, so yeah, 5 pence in the pound on tyres as well, just to make a little bit more money. It's all good fun. So that's a yellow flag out at the moment. We're rolling round single file. We have reset the noses. I'd like to tell you I'm not confused, but it doesn't take much, admittedly. I'm not sure. We've got one peeling off in the pits. Are we going to go green this time? I think we're likely to go. We are going green. We're away and racing. 6.5 minutes, single file restart. And Nelson Taylor's going to lead us round then in front of Jude Puddifoot. I best get me shouty voice back engaged as we are away and racing once again. Down towards Ashby as the field now, particularly the leaders, are closer than what we were. Puddifoot was on the back of Taylor. Taylor is off at the front at the moment. Puddifoot's going to need a couple of laps to try and break away from Archie Ray Watson, Jake Cozzy. Zach Jennings in the 22 in P5, just in front of Laurie McVeigh as they'll come up and over the timing line for the first time since the resumption of this race. And it is Taylor from Puddifoot, Watson, Cozzy. Falling down the order is Jerry Dufficy in the 13. I wonder if he was the one peeling off into the pits as down the inside of Zach Jennings goes the 33 of Laurie McVeigh. And Jennings now is losing a couple of places there. It was down the inside of him was Warwick Milam, who comes into this round second in the championship. At the front though, it's Taylor and Puddifoot. X-Kart 1-2 as it stands in front of Archie Ray Watson in the 95. His second year of junior racing. Has a quick look over his shoulder back towards the Jake Cozzy as Milam goes down the inside and Laurie McVeigh, and that's not really worked out for either of them. And through comes Jennings, and then off on the right hand side is the Project One kart, and they're all getting a little bit messy in the upper mid pack. And you can see how much that has fragmented the field back to what is now a very defensive Laurie McVeigh. Although I'm sure he won't be too disappointed that his championship rivals, largely with the exception of Jake Cozzy, are all behind him. Got a warning for the 30 of Rafi Hayar. Pudderfoot under pressure now from Archie Ray Watson, and again the person that benefits the most is your race leader, and this time Pudderfoot I think will lose a place here. In fact, he's podded out to the right hand side and he's going to have to sit and wait. Is Jude Pudderfoot here? Questions will be asked there. Firstly, should Pudderfoot have stayed round the outside into a gap that was always going to diminish? Questions though will be asked by Pudderfoot as to was he helped off the circuit to the outside. .320 on the clock. Still plenty of action, particularly when we're lapping under the 48-second mark. Jennings wide out onto the curb under pressure now from Laurie McVeigh, again running out of concrete on the outside. It wasn't tarmac, it was out onto the curb on the outside for Zach Jennings. He seems to be struggling a little bit pace-wise at this phase in the race. So it does back the field a little bit up as Warwick Milam goes down the inside there on what appeared to be Isaac Jameson in the 19. Indeed it was, and that sees Jameson fall behind the 62, the debuting Jack Brown, who is going well and is inside the top 10 in P7 as it stands. Field still running up towards Christmas. The podium is largely set in stone, and I say that with the loosest of statements because this is junior Rotax after all. Jennings loses a place there as McVeigh went defensive in the downhill run to Ashby. Jennings tried to go and put the kart round the outside, and Warwick Milam saw a gap down the inside and went down the went into that gap as well. All the way down the order now to I think it's Tyler Banks in P15 there. He's pretty much nose to tail here. Behind fourth place, Laurie McVeigh, and fifth place, Laurie McVeigh. Side by side, that looked like Isaac Jameson going up and over the front end of what could well have been Charlie Halewood. Wouldn't put money on it though. 44, it's Noah Clare actually, Project One runner. Honda Cadet graduate, we raced with them in Honda's Cadet as well before moving up into Junior Max there in that red helmet. Top three are pretty much as we were. Jameson falling down now, P16, 17, 18. He was off the track then for Isaac Jameson. Even if he wasn't, he is off and into the guessing pit lane. Lost potentially. Got Sam Stockton down the order as well. They have crossed the timing line all the way down to Sam Stockton. Could well have Jude Pudderfoot in the pit lane. So, Pudderfoot out, confirmed by the camera op down at the final corner. So, 2 laps to go, 3 karts, 2 of which have not won a final here in Super 1 this season. Taylor and Watson, the 2 that haven't. They currently run 1 and 2. Cozzy will be closing the championship points deficit to Laurie McVeigh, who currently sits in 4th place, although it remains tight Zach Jennings just behind them. There he is. He's got a gap back then to Warwick Milam. Jack Brown. And that field all the way through. It's fragmented slightly down to Evan Mellor. So Clare is comfortable P12. Mellor, Banks and Cooper Moore as we go up towards the boot. Taylor and Watson, your top two. Don't be too surprised though to see Cozzy get back into this. He's half a second back, but they will start defending as Milam, I think there has got past Jennings with a lap to go. Indeed he has. P5 for Warwick Milam, and right on cue, Taylor will start defending from Archie Ray Watson. Run down the hill and Taylor will come inside. Gets onto the brakes and then goes out wide onto the outside as Archie Ray Watson moves through into the lead with Jake Cozzy now in second place, pursuing Archie Ray Watson up towards the boot. And we'll go down the inside, puts the nose in. They'll get it side by side. Will they know Cozzy can't get it done? Door closed, Archie Ray Watson up and over the curbs. And Watson takes victory at round 9 from Cozzy and Taylor. McVeigh, Milam, that's Jennings in front of a very happy Jack Brown in P7. Harry Ward, Elijah Hartley, Charlie Halewood. Got Tyler Orridge falling down on the final lap. He will cross the line now in P28. Will Tyler Orridge, having been up inside the top 20 in P18 as they went on to the final lap. Watson, Cozzy and Taylor then, your top three, split by half a second. Taylor led us on to the final lap, but it wasn't to be for the 91. Archie Ray Watson taking top honours then from Jake Cozzy and Nelson Taylor. Laurie McVeigh and Warwick Milam complete the top 5. A good showing by Zach Jennings, an even better one though from the debuting Jack Brown in P7. Harry Ward, Elijah Hartley, Charlie Halewood and Noah Clare in front of Nathan Rondon, Tyler Banks and Cooper Moore in P14. P15 Evan Mellor with Timmy Shahini, Ryan Wheatley and William Kidd Glass in P18. Amy Peacock 19, Harry Search P20 in front of Dolby McCullough, Jameson, Allen, Haydar, Dufficy and Stockton in P27. Tyler Orridge, and then your drivers that didn't get to see the checker, Jude Puddifoot, Alexander Adams, Aidan Young and Fletcher Grounds in P32. So the roar of juniors replaced by the silence of mighty Super Cadet. One or two juniors may well be collected from circuit, but we will have our mighty Super Cadets heading out in a few moments' time for their final. Harry Stinson leads the championship. From now, Will Beattie with Ansel Murray in third place, Logan Jackson and Casey Baker, your top 5 in points in Mighty Super Cadet. Out they come then, and it will be the O-plate of Ansel Murray on the pole position berth. Harry Stinson alongside him on the front row, with Logan Jackson and Casey Baker in front of Jacob Hutchinson and Harry Watkinson on row number 3. Zachary Parr with Jaden Bond and Brandon Hartley on Oscar Dudley. So field coming down, you can hear the tyre squeal. sound of the tyre is not overawed by the sound of the engines, because they don't have any. It's a power unit, and it is a battery power unit in Mighty Super Cadet. So field nice and slow. Stinson on the left in the white and blue. Murray on the right in the what looks to be red on there, but it is a very dark burnt orange and black. The colours of Richardson Chassis Engineering RCE. Stinson waiting for his front row mate, but rival Ansel Murray to get us going. They've watched a lot of junior Rotax because they are down to a walking pace. No chance of the plug oiling up though. We are away and racing at the front as Logan Jackson slots into third place. And run up towards Christmas Corner, and despite going away quickly at the start, Ansel Murray will be pegged back immediately by Harry Stinson, who goes down the inside into the right-hander of Christmas Corner. So Stinson from Murray, then the 112 of Logan Jackson. In that third place. Comfortable already as he begins to move away from Harry Watkinson in P4. Can he go with? That looks like a new helmet as well for Logan Jackson in third place. Watkinson in front of the W plate of Jacob Hutchinson. 148 is Jaden Bond just behind them. Well, he's still within touching distance, but Harry Stinson starting to extend that gap visually at the front. Watkinson with Bond. Got the 148 of Jaden Bond, yep, just behind in sixth place. He's trying to go down the inside. On the W plate is Bond. So Hartley and Oscar Dudley run side by side. Zachary Parr just off the back of them as well. Did have 10 on the entry list, but only 9 showing on timing. No Casey Baker out for in terms of timing on this one by the look of things, but was on the grid. Start of this race we did have 10 being shown, but can't find Casey Baker at the moment in the 139. Through in this battle for third place, Watkinson, Hutchinson and Bond. Your closest trio on track, the Stinson, Murray and Jackson battle at the front does have a second or so between them, and we'll keep an eye out on them as we be able to pick them up as we cut between camera shots. There they are. This train of three though with, I say, Watkinson, Bond, Hutchinson. Hutchinson in the middle of the trio. Despite the fact that timing says that Bond is in front, he indeed is not at the moment, but both of them toiling to try and get past Harry Watkinson, back to the leading duo. Logan Jackson just trying to stay within touching distance. These two have been evenly matched, and on a number of occasions so far this season, too evenly matched, if you understand the drift in which I am going with that one. Still Harry Watkinson holding on here in Mighty Super Cadet, effectively an interclass, so drivers up to 13 years old. As he nose down the inside by Jacob Hutchinson. Watkinson just having a bit of a run out there on the right hand side. So Stinson being reeled in by Ansel Murray. Watkinson is going to have a go now to try and get through, and does not. And then they'll run 3 wide up. Oh, we've got a driver spacing the wrong way and out onto the outside into the tyres. That will be Jaden Bond, I believe. So Watkinson and Hutchinson are facing the wrong way on the right hand side. Tidy for all 3 of them. But Jacob Hutchinson now into 4th place, with Watkinson just behind them is Oscar Dudley in the 177. .250 on the clock for the leaders. Ansel Murray still in the wheel tracks of Harry Stinson. Moment, not too fussed about going through. W plate of Hutchinson from South Yorkshire, first year in Super 1. Done a few years of arrive and drive karting before heading down the mighty route. Leaders are still nose to tail. Logan Jackson, despite not really having a slipstream, has managed to stay with them largely. Certainly close enough to take advantage of these two battling in the final couple of laps. Big look over the shoulder there by Murray, just to make sure that Jackson wasn't closing in too much. Gap that these 3 have now compared to what they had prior to the battling earlier on is quite sizable. So Watkinson, Hutchinson and Dudley are now your 3 drivers battling out over 4th, 5th and 6th. Oscar Dudley there in the yellow. Long run down from Dunfermline in Scotland for the 11-year-old. Did I say that? He does say that he's from Dunfermline, but then in the notes it does also say that he lives in Featherstone in Yorkshire, so not quite the run as if he was coming down from Dunfermline. What he is doing though is trying to go all the way around the outside of Hutchinson in the W plate. And that has allowed Harry Watkinson to move away at the front of that train. And these two now will battle it out over P5. Time is down to 0 as the leaders head up round the final couple of corners. Can Ansel Murray have a stellar final lap? It will need to close in 4 or 5 kart lengths on the back of Harry Stinson. Given that Stinson won't really need to defend that run up towards Christmas Corner, Murray is going to have to find something rather special. I think Stinson was more than fast enough through the first sector. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities in sector 2 here. As they left-hander at Wilkins. Another left before a flat-out right as take a chunk of curb on the exit of Oziers. Another look over the shoulder to make sure he doesn't have to defend into the boot. Gets it stopped. It's single file from here on out. And as long as he can get the drive out of the final corner, there's nothing Ansel Murray can do. And Harry Stinson is pointing to the sky already as he takes victory here at round 9 of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship from Ansel Murray and Logan Jackson. It's going to be Harry Watkinson going to the trophies for P4 in front of the W plate of Jacob Hutchinson and Oscar Dudley, who takes P6. Hartley, Bond and Zachary Parr, by the look of things, are your 3 remaining runners. Or I do think Parr may well have been in front. Yes, he was in 8th place at the line in front of Jaden Bond, and a cart to be collected. So mechanic goes off in search of a cart that hasn't managed to get going. So Mighty Super Cadet, won by Harry Stinson, chased home by Ansel Murray and Logan Jackson. Next up then here at Super 1, it is our Inter Max class. Sounds like there's a lot of excitement going on in the background, and hopefully in a few moments' time there'll be plenty of excitement going on track. Intermax so far this year has largely been dominated by one man. That is the man from the Isle of Man in Charlie Gregg. There he is in the number 8. He hasn't quite had it all his own way so far today, by the look of things. Unless that cart should have had another number on the side of it. That is why the 137 didn't get going. For those of you who are new to karting, there should be a wheel on that front left, and there was not. Right, let's have a look at a grid then for our Intermax class before they head out onto track. The returning Noah Wicklow, who is the current Super 1 Micro Max champion, having won the British Championship in Coma C50 Bambino, but his first outing into Max here this season. He's joined on the front row by Maria Roberto, another debutante in Super 1. TJ McLeish and Louis Granell in front of Xavier Davidson and Charlie Heffer on row number 6. P6, sorry, on row number 3. Row 4, Leyland Bradnan and Joshua Kinayston Wade, with Aubrey Harrington Evans and Toby Miles. Ollie Blantford will go off P11. We'll talk about him in a minute, with Shailan Srikantan, another Honda Cadet driver, going off P12. Amelia Hay and Charlie Ford in front of Charlie Gregg, the championship leader, and Arlo Atwood in P16. Harley Hassel and Eli Romalo go off row 9. Calvin Sherlock and Oliver Wynn go off row 10. Finley Fawkes and Nixie Hay are in front of George Allison and Evan Dearden on row number 12. So yeah, let's have a little bit of a chat about Ollie Blanford. There he is in the number 60, just being heading out onto track. His brother Lucas on the right hand side of the 4 people on the right hand side will be out in senior road tax. He's back for the first time since winning the Super 1 Championship last season. This weekend he won heat number 2, so I'd expect him to be going off the front end of the pack in senior match with his brother Ollie. And, just about starting his motorsport journey, still in his first season of racing, is Ollie Blanford. But, if you need a mentor and somebody to learn from, the reigning champion in Senior Max is a good place to start looking. He doesn't have to go very far to do that. 24 drivers, 9 minutes and 1 lap on the clock. 2 debutants this season go off the front row. Noah Wicklow, the reigning Micromax champion. Maria Roberto, a new name to the Super 1 Championship, will join him on the front row. Will it be in that order at the end? Lights are out, we're away and racing, it's time to find out. As Roberto sticks it out round the outside and gets the elbows out and indeed does hold on to second place. We've got 2 or 3 drivers facing in the wrong direction further down the order, but they all get going with the exception maybe of 1 on the outside. We'll pick them up at the end of lap number 1, and it is the 17, and that is a snapped front right track rod on the 17 of Charlie Ford. Brings a premature end to his race. We've got a few other drivers. One's the 22, I think there, of Nixie Hay, I think 23. There's for the lead. Maria Roberto goes down the inside of Noah Wicklow. And Roberto will lead us over the line at the end of lap number 1. Roberto from Wicklow, Heffer, Granell, McLeish, with Davidson, Joshua Knayston Wade, Leyland Bradnan, Aubrey Harrington Evans, and Ollie Blanford, your top 10. Srikantan, Miles, Hassel, Hay, Atwood, Romalo, Fawkes, Allison Dearden, and Calvin Sherlock. Championship leader Charlie Gregg was one of those involved on the opening lap. He's 2.5 seconds adrift alongside Nixie Hay, and Charlie Ford is out. A day to forget for Charlie Gregg in a weekend that he could have feasibly wrapped up this championship tomorrow if things had gone to plan. They have not gone to plan for Charlie Gregg. Tomorrow is another day, and in 4 weeks' time there will be another opportunity to get this championship wrapped up for Charlie Gregg. At the front though, Roberto and Wicklow being pursued by Heffer. Gap back then to Granell. Heffer with the fastest lap on lap number 2 as his kart comes up to temperature in the number 16 machine. Wicklow taking a huge chunk of curb. It's 20 is Xavier Davidson in a brand new sticker kit for this weekend. Most of you, if you're familiar with karting, will know it won't look that shiny by this time tomorrow. Probably have big black semicircles down the side of it, such as the nature and close quarter of karting. Fastest lap from Roberto. 10th faster than Noah Wicklow, but as you can see, Wicklow still right in the wheel tracks. Layla Bell saying go on Maria in the live chat. Driver that admittedly I don't know a huge amount about, with this being her debut in the Super 1 Championship. So at club level we'll be competing in championships. I can't be everywhere, that's the problem. I'd love to be able to commentate 3 or 4 events at the weekend. Imagine how much money that would bring in. A couple of quid at the very least. Get paid what you're worth. Not very much, it turns out. Roberto leads then from Wicklow, still being pushed along by the 53 of Wicklow, who, despite his young age, is a Very, very accomplished driver, and will pick his time, and picks it now as he goes down the inside of Roberto to retake the lead that he had at the start. That will have pleased Charlie Heffer, I am fairly sure, because that's closed the gap. It was 0.6 of a second down to around about half of that now. As Roberto bounces over the curbs in the KR Sport colours. Can she do what Wicklow did and just stick within the wheel tracks for a couple of laps and try and go with the 53? Heffer with the fastest lap though this time round, and we are going to have a battle of three at the front, and Roberto is going to have to work hard here. It's always hard being the one in the middle, because you know that if you go for an overtake and it doesn't work out, you're going to come out in P3. Easiest place to be is the third place driver, and that's only if you want the other two to start battling. How many times have we seen the driver in third come out taking the victory on the final lap? We've got 4:15 plus 1 lap to find out whether Charlie Heffer is going to be your winner today from that third place. He has set fastest lap on a number of occasions. And on this occasion, it's Noah Wicklow, and it does seem now that the 53 is starting to come to Wicklow. Very difficult to set these karts up to be perfect throughout the whole 9 plus 1 lap. Set them up for the end and ride out the storm, and it would appear that that is what Wicklow has done. If I set it up, I do mean maybe slightly lower on tyre pressures. Get that radiator flap up whenever you can, and indeed he has done, as has the other two behind as well, with the engines coming up to the right temperature. Wicklow though is deep into the boot. Doesn't need to be. 0.3 was the gap. It will be very similar as they cross the line. In fact, it's gone down slightly as I say Wicklow was deep into the boot. It was noticeable as well that he was deep in towards that right-hander, the first right-hander of the boot. McLeish is clear in 4th place. Granell is under pressure from Joshua Kinaeston Wade, with Leyland Bradnam and Shailan Srikantan in front of Xavier Davidson and Aubrey Harrington Evans, as there is a move down the inside by the 18 of Shailan Srikantan in that green helmet on Leyland Bradnam. Wicklow a little bit tidier this time as he launches his way over that curb. Again, I don't think it's going to be a million miles apart. Kinaeston Wade gets a warning on the overhead gantry there. He is in the all orange, in the white and orange colour scheme on the back of the 11 of Louis Granell. Just look how much Shailan Srikantan has closed up. Now he's managed to get past Leyland Bradnam on that previous lap. He's taken half a second out of this duo in front. Srikantan, very accomplished and always ran towards the front in Honda Cadet, has now decided to make the transition into Micromax for Shailan Srikantan. As round goes the 40 under their own power, and they're going to have to sit and wait. Harlow Atwood will have to be patient from P13. Shailan Srikantan has got past Joshua Kinaeston Wade. It's been some drive this from Shailan Srikantan from P12. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move coming sooner rather than later on Louis Granell. '60 and the 90. That 60 is Ollie Blanford in the green and bronzed helmet. He puts a lovely little switchback on Toby Miles and defends like a pro in the run up towards the boot. And Srikantan is indeed past Louis Granell. For now, P5 for Shailan Srikantan. Is this a case of what could have been had he not started this race in P12 for Shaylan? Already with a few kart lengths there on Granell down the hill towards the right-hander at Ashby. Leaders are still nose to tail and may well be about to commence their final lap. They're in the boot with the timer in the top left-hand corner, creeping, edging down to 0. Look at it to change now, and indeed it does. We're on to the final lap. There's Noah Wicklow and Maria Roberto are nose to tail in their run up towards Christmas Corner. I need the leaders, mate. Canton now clear in P5. Leaders are coming back into shot shortly. Mate, I need the leaders. We're on the final lap here. Okay, noted. There we go. So we got Noah Wicklow still leading from Maria Roberto. Gets it hard on the brakes, gets it stopped. To stop Roberto getting the run. And on his return to the Super 1 Championship, he'll go straight to the top step. Noah Wicklow wins from Maria Roberto and Charlie Heffer. TJ McLeish in P4. A superb drive by Shaylan Srikantan for 5th place in front of Louis Granell and Joshua Kynaston Wade. Leyland Bradnam, Aubrey Harrington Evans and Xavier Davidson in P10. Ollie Blantford, Toby Miles, Eli Romalo. That's a good run by Romalo. Where did he start? It was way down the order in P18. He gets himself up into P13 for Eli. Amelia Hay, Charlie Gregg after a difficult opening lap. A day to forget for the championship leader. Will still be in the prime berth, although TJ McLeish will take a decent amount of points out of him with 4th place, as will Leyland Bradnam with an 8th. So Charlie Gregg then in P15, in front of Harley Hassel, Calvin Sherlock, George Allison and Finley Fawkes with Arlo Atwood, Evan Dearden, Oliver Wynn with Nixie Hay, and then Charlie Ford out on the opening lap. His 2 front wheels facing each other with a snapped front right track rod or track rod end. Only one final to go then. It is 6:10 here at Wilton Mill. The sun continues to shine. Just shined on Noah Wicklow. Next up, it will shine on Senior Rotax. No worries, mate. Seniors are heading out onto track with Lucas Blantford leading us round on his return. He's got George Cole alongside him on the front row. Cole, who comes into this with a 23-point lead in the championship in front of Jarek Metters and Ronnie Smith, with Morgan Hudson-Brown second in the championship going on P5. Rory Hinkley will start alongside him on row number 3. Then it's going to be Rory Burke and Caden Welch, Leon Barlow and Isaac Parkinson with Lewis Holt and Kieran Denyer on row 6. Row 7 will be Max Chow and Ollie Rowley, with Max Lorna-Bennock in front of Tom Nottingham, Kian Eastick and Harry Gill on row number 9. Row 10, Lucas Steele and Riley Mason-Lewis, Katie Broadbent and Billy Edgecombe in front of Salvador Newman and Luigi Pellini on row number 12. Here we go then into the tram lines, except for that one that's straight down the middle of the circuit, but we are away and racing with 9 minutes plus 1 on the clock. And we make our way through. It's nice and clean thus far for Senior Rotax. It's been a good start by Jarek Metters. He's up into 2nd place. As we make our way round the right-hander and back down the hill as Ronnie Smith gets forced to the inside, but I think that might have resulted in an accidental overtake for Ronnie Smith, so I don't think he'll be too disappointed in the long run. Blantford then back to the front, running the number 1 and justifying the number board on the front of that kart already. This class was the highest number of returning drivers. We've got a few off onto the grass on the outside. One was the 75 of Max Greenland. We'll pick up those that have had tough opening laps already. Kieran Denyer, P12, having started in P12, but did run slightly higher than that in the opening few laps. We've got a move coming down the inside, a little bit further down outside the top 10. But Blanford, Metters, Cole, Brown, Burke, Smith, Barlow on his return to this championship, and the first time in seniors in this championship, going well in P7. Not really sat in a kart for the last year as Leon Barlow, but going incredibly well in P7. Hinkley, Welch, Parkinson completed top 10 in front of Chown, Denyer, Holt, Max Lorna, Bennick and Ollie Rowley, with Tom Nottingham, Kearney Stick, Billy Edgecombe, Lucas Steele and Salvador Newman completing the top 20. Ralph Oliano and Emma Stoner out on the opening lap by the look of things. They've not tripped the timing line where everybody else has. Just wide goes the 17 of Robin Brain. Slots back into position nicely. It's the 95 in the colours and number scheme of Lightning McQueen is Caden Welch, running in 9th place in front of Max Chown. And we have had a change for the lead there. The yellow kart of Tom Day Racing and the all-red suit of Jarek Metters leads Lucas Blanford. The championship leader George Cole tucked in just behind the driver who currently holds the championship but hasn't contested the majority of this season. He's been focusing on running other drivers and coaching throughout this year as Lucas Blanford. It's always good to jump straight back in the kart and get back to the front. It's a good advert for your coaching abilities. Blanford then going well. This bounce over then that final chicane. Can't really call it new. We've got two off there on the outside. So they're falling down the order. It looks like one could well have been Leon Barlow. No, it wasn't. It's Robin Brain and Molly Griffiths. Both falling down the order. Barlow's fallen a few places as well. Down to P13. Lost 5 places on that previous lap. Max Chow made up 2. Run in P number 8. A warning coming for the 49 of Ollie Rowley as well. And now you can really see the driver starting to push because they are launching over them curves. We've got a technical defect for the 51 of Tom Williams. The Welshman will see his first full season of Super 1 come to an end, at least here today at Wilton Mill. There's a slow moving kart on the run out of Ashby as well there by the look of things. That was Molly Griffiths in GMS colours. Just watching on. Being out of this race. Robin Brain also out, didn't get back on, didn't trip the timing line at the end of the previous lap. I wonder how much, if anything, Blanford's got in the locker. He is launching that curve in the middle. Metters clearly has the early race pace, but all it needs is half a PSI higher and those tyres will start to go over perfection before the end of this race. Chown with the fastest lap down there in P8 at the moment. He's got clear track in front of him up onto the back of Rory Burke. So 4 in the same camera shot down to Morgan Hudson-Brown. A little bit of a gap back to Ronnie Smith, who was in the turquoisey coloured suit there for Omega Motorsport, being pursued by Joe Weaver Racing's Rory Hinkley in the 12. Rory Burke in the 87, in front of Chown, Welch and Parkinson. No changes with the exception of Kieran Denyer finding his way inside the top 10, the number 7 seed from last year. This train of carts makes its way around Christmas Corner and back down the hill. With Denya leading that train. This is 10th back to comfortably 20th and maybe a little further. We've got carts in the pit lane already. It's being collected. One of them will be Tom Williams, of course. He's had that mechanical flag. Still 2.5 minutes to go here. So we still follow this train, being led by Kieran Denya. 15 of Tom Nottingham. Now running in a different colour scheme to what he has all season. Still remains around about 3.5 tenths at the front of this race. Metta's being kept honest by Blanford, but has enough of a gap that he's not having to overly defend. There we are in that run up towards the right-hander. This will come together, I'm fairly sure, in the remaining couple of minutes of this race. There's still plenty of time to go in Rotax standards, that's for sure. Probably around about 4 laps. And Metas is going to have to go some here to beat the reigning champ. He would love, I'm sure, to be back on the top step upon his return. He's going to have to get everything he can out of that zip liveried machine. Yeah. The chassis looks green underneath him, which leads him to believe it could well be an OTK. Tony Cart. Needs to find about half a second, and if we're being honest, it looks like Metas is finding a little bit there as Max Chown is going to get eased out wide as he battles with Rory Burke. Burke was in front at the start of the lap. Chown looked like he'd gone down the inside, but then ended up on the outside as he couldn't get the move done in the run down towards Ashby. George Cole asking a lot of that cart as he bounced up and over the curbs. We'll have 2 laps to go here. Threw that cart in, it landed sideways. He was asking a lot of the cart, a lot of the side wall of these Mojo tyres to do what he needed to do as Chown defends from Caden Welch over 8th place. 8th being the middle position there with Rory Burke in P7. In number 87, Isaac Parkinson now leads that second train. It goes all the way down from P10 to beyond P20 as Welch and Chown side by side. Welch jumps out of the way there really and railed the curb. Get the ladder skateboard. We are on to the final lap, and as the gap goes out further once again on that previous lap by 0.2 of a second, we have no need to defend for Jarek Metters. Chown trying to go all the way around the outside. Who's going to appear? It's still Burke from Chown, and then Caden Welch in 7th, 8th and 9th. Metters, though, with that gap at the front of 0.6 of a second, heads down towards the boot for the final time. You can see them in the distance. There is distance between Jarek Metters and Lucas Blanford as Jarek Metters celebrates at Wilton Mill. Round 9 is won by Jarek Metters from the returning champion Lucas Blanford, the championship leader George Cole, and Morgan Hudson-Brown in front of Rory Hinckley, Ronnie Smith and Rory Burke, Max Chown, Caden Welch and Isaac Parkinson complete your top 10. Denya, Barlow, Edgecombe, Holt, Lorna Bennett and Ollie Rowley, with Kian Eastick and Tom Nottingham in front of Dylan Tracy Lucas Steele, Luigi Pellini, Salvador Newman and Riley Mason-Lewis. Jasper North, Kate Broadbent and Max Greenland in P26. There is Izzy Lawton taking the checkered flag. And then those drivers that were not classified, unfortunately, Harry Gill, Tom Williams, Robin Brain, Molly Griffiths. And then the two drivers that did not complete the opening lap, Ralph Oliano and Emma Stoner, in 32nd and 33rd respectively. Blanford pointed in after second place. Let's have a look at Jarrett Metters. He's clear and now just has to go over the weighbridge and do scrutineering. Morgan Hudson-Brown is clear for P4 as well. Rory Hinckley and Ronnie Smith. So far, no drop downs. Oh, we spoke too soon. We spoke too soon. The 87. Been a good run for Rory Burke. A little bit too good, it turns out, as he's going to pick up a 5-place penalty, not at 5 seconds here in Super 1. It's 5 places. So that will drop him down from P7 to P12 at best. Billy Edgecombe there, I'm not sure what he was doing, but they did resemble some of my best dance moves. So the field then just being sent down. That is your final race of the day then here from a sun-kissed Wilton Mill. Hopefully the sun stays with us throughout tomorrow as well. I'll be back. I'm sure you will be as well. Look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow morning for both sets of heats and the finals from round 10 of the HWE BIM Services Super 1 Championship. This has been round 9. I've been David Sullivan. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you bright and early for round number 10 tomorrow morning.